This is Nighthawk All-Access. Hello everyone, Craig Corbin here, and thanks for joining us on our season-long tour through the athletic department here at University of North Georgia. Our visit with student athletes, staff, and coaches all season long to provide more than just stats and scores. And also a big thanks to our friends at GMTV, Georgia Mountain Television, the home and newest partner of the Nighthawk Sports Network. We've got a great show. Stay with us. More in a moment. Back we are here on Nighthawks All-Access. So glad to be joined by Jordan Tetley, assistant women's basketball coach. Welcome to Nighthawk All-Access.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, and we are in the women's locker room, phenomenal facility here in the Convocation Center. What's it been like, first of all, the transition from having played your career at Memorial Hall and now having been a grad assistant, now an assistant with the program in such a phenomenal facility?
Yes, it's been an amazing experience. When my playing career ended, it was tough for me. That first year was a little weird because I just wanted to be on that court with my teammates still because I played with so many of them. So my first year was a little interesting. It was a tough transition. But then once I started getting more into the coaching and figuring it out, and I realized how rewarding that could be. I loved being on that side of it. I remember coming to Coach's office and I'm like, Coach, I definitely want to coach. She was like, well, you've got a spot here when you graduate. So pretty early I knew that because I just absolutely knew I wasn't ready to leave the game. Especially that senior year, it became even more apparent. You know, the less games I had and the more I was just not ready to give it up. I just love the game so much, and so coaching gives you that chance to be around it and be around others who love it as much too. So it's something I knew I wanted to do for sure.
I know that it's been both personally and professionally rewarding for you. Of course, the one thing that I think many people who look at sports in general don't grasp is what goes on behind the scenes, the responsibilities daily that coaches, assistant coaches are responsible for. Walk us through just an average week in the life of an assistant basketball coach at the university level.
Okay, well, once we start games really, where we're in season, it's pretty much on Monday. We'll play Wednesday, so on Monday is when we start. We watch the game that we just played, get some clips from that, and then we start watching our opponent who we play Wednesday, and it's pretty quick transitions for each game when we play 2 days apart a lot. So it's watching a lot of film, building scouts, then we show the girls the film, we give them scouts and whatnot about our opponent that we're about to play. It's doing the laundry, it's doing skills, individuals. Me and Jamie are always, whenever the girls are like, hey, can we get shots up? It's always a yes. We'll never tell a player no to get an extra work in. So whenever they ask, we're here for them. But it's fun. I love it, and I love who I do it with, and that makes it just the best, really.
When you talk about that, and you mentioned Jamie Acton, again, another phenomenal player here at North Georgia, now transitioned to being a coach. And then, of course, Coach Burson, her quarter century of service to the university has really built a phenomenal tradition. And that's something that I think people really appreciate, the fact that there is that tradition. What's it been like to be a part of such a phenomenal aspect of UNG?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Just one thing is realizing how much it takes to build that culture. Like you're saying, you know, it's an everyday thing. It's something that Coach works on every single day, and she's been building for, like you said, over 20 years now. So it's just like the work that she's put into it is phenomenal, and it's amazing to be a part of, and it's really fun and interesting to see like other people realize it too. And like you said, like people come up and they're like the culture at North Georgia and stuff like that, and it's all because of what Coach Burson has consistently worked on for all these years now. She's never like taken a break. I don't need to work on it this year. We're winning. It's an everyday battle that she goes through to keep this culture, and it's amazing. It's awesome being a part of just how important the people are and the relationships of the program.
Yeah, we wanted to also go back to touching a little bit on your playing career here at North Georgia, and I very much enjoyed being able to broadcast the games when you were in uniform. surpassed that 1,000-point career
Barely.
mark just
Barely.
on the cusp of wrapping, within minutes of your
Barely.
final game.
Yes.
How neat was that?
It was awesome. I would have taken a win that night over my 1,000 point, hands down for sure, still to this day. But it was nice to be able to end my career reaching that feat. Like I said, I would have liked to go a little bit farther, but now I like that I've been able to do that on this side. To be honest, I didn't even know I knew I was like pretty close, but I didn't know it was those free throws. And my free throw that gave me my 1,000 was like bouncing all off the rim and ended up going in. And my parents were like, we didn't think that was going in at all, but I guess I got it, and it's cool to have gotten that for sure.
That obviously was a special moment, a memory that you'll always have. As we begin to wind up our visit, one of the things that is also a hallmark, I think, of UNG women's basketball is the unselfish nature, the selflessness of the team, always looking for the teammate that might be just a little bit more open for a shot. What's it like being able to work with young ladies who have that mentality on a team?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that goes with the culture that Coach Burson's built this whole time. It's not me, it's we. And I think all the girls live that completely. They're some of the best group of girls I've ever been around. And so you see that off the court, so it's no surprise that they're unselfish on the court as well. But it's amazing.
Absolutely. Coach Tetley, we greatly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being part of Nighthawk All-Access, and we greatly look forward to watching the team this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to take a break. Stay with us. Back in a moment on Nighthawk All-Access.
Shop, play, and stay in Dahlonega, the heart of the North Georgia mountains.
Nighthawks All-Access continues, and we are so pleased to be joined by Morgan May. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We have waited with bated breath for this opportunity to have
I'm sure.
Of course, Morgan, the marketing and events coordinator here in the department. And when we talk about this team, the athletics department team, everybody does get to wear a lot of hats. You are no exception to that.
No, I don't think so.
Let's talk a little bit about the diverse responsibilities that you have in your current role.
Yeah, so in my role as marketing and events coordinator, everything that falls under that realm for me would be first and foremost the corporate sponsorship program. When we have corporate sponsorships come in, I handle the fulfillment, the relationship building of those, making sure they're getting what they want and vice versa. And then also anything social media related on the team of external operations. I help with all social media there, marketing of the entire department to the community, to the campus, to the region, just getting our name out there, getting our brand out there, and through events, which is where the events come into play. So we have certain key events throughout the year that I help delegate and oversee, but then any promotions. Fifth Graders Day Out, which was in
Fantastic.
December. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that, and that was a great way to just, connect with the schools, get the kids here who may have never been here before, and just we put on a great show for them, I thought.
And by the way, congratulations on the phenomenal job that is being done to get the word out, to spread the name of UNG Athletics, because in the last couple of years, the increase in visibility has been phenomenal. And I know that you guys have metrics that you use to track that sort of thing. And those, I know, can be mind-numbing at times, but you have to be pleased with the trends that you're seeing.
Oh, absolutely. And you speak on those metrics. I live in those. And anybody on our team and external ops will tell you that. Yes, mind-numbing, but I love them. I see those numbers, and if any of them fall a little bit, not good. Got to go back up. And so it's been really fun to watch the trends, because there are, it's not always high. We're going high and low all the time, and so it's been really fun to watch trends over the last few years that I've been here.
That is great. Now you talk about being in love with the metrics. That's a very much part and parcel of marketing and that sort of thing. Your degree in marketing, I believe, is that?
Undergrad in communications.
Okay,
correct.
Great. And Oglethorpe, if memory serves.
Oglethorpe University.
And played basketball there.
I did.
So that would make you a Stormy Petrel.
Petrel.
Petrel! Doggone it, so close. Okay, well, I had the bird right, just couldn't
Correct,
pronounce.
yeah, it's a bird.
The Stormy Petrels.
The Stormy Petrel.
What was it like being a basketball player there at Oglethorpe?
It was awesome. I loved that place. I actually started at Rollins College in Winter Park, and spent 2 years there and just knew I wanted to be closer to home. So started looking around, and I saw Oglethorpe and just fell in love with it immediately. Went on my visit, and there was no question that's where I was going to end up. We got to travel all over the country. I was in a sorority there as well. I was a Chi Omega, and so being able to be a student, be an athlete, and just I felt like I really got the whole picture of what a student athlete is at Oglethorpe.
That is interesting, and I'm always curious about when the light went on, when the switch was turned with your time there and your professional career, that you knew that you wanted to pursue a career path that would bring you to North Georgia.
Oh, when did that light switch happen? I think I was probably sitting in my cubicle. I worked for Cox Media Group.
In the corporate world?
Yeah, I was corporate world. After graduation, I worked corporate for about 3.5 years. And there was just one day, I was sitting in my cubicle, and I knew, while I loved the job I was doing, I loved the company. It was a great company. I loved the coworkers. I just knew it wasn't the career. It was a job for me. It wasn't a career. And so I went home that day knowing that I needed to be back in sports. How to be back in sports, I wasn't quite sure yet, but I spent a lot of time researching, a lot of time thinking about it, and just when I came across this opportunity, I was a graduate assistant here first, and I was able to get my master's in business. It was a no-brainer that this could be the avenue to get me back into sports.
That's excellent. Now we look at all the tools that you have in marketing the program here at North Georgia. What, in your opinion, has been the most effective tool in your arsenal to promote the Nighthawks? I'm giving you some toughies here now,
Yeah,
Morgan.
you are.
But see, you've got so many neat things to work with, and you guys have done such a phenomenal job. I know that social media is a big part of it. That has changed, I know, in the last couple of years with the fact that your team, your staff is involved during competitions with posts that are going out. That's sort of neat.
Gosh, you really got me there.
That's okay.
Because what I want to say isn't really marketing related.
Okay.
What I
Well, it
want to
doesn't
say
have
is the team behind the scenes.
That's okay.
That helps me.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
So the most effective
The most effective tool in your arsenal.
in my arsenal to help promote the brand. Our athletic department is just so amazing to work with. The family environment, I think I've watched every All-Access episode, and I think that gets brought up at least once. The family environment here in our department, and just anybody willing to step up and lend a hand when need be. When I throw a crazy idea out there, like fifth graders day out, and I just said, hey, I need help with this, this, and this, and nobody batted an eye to help and put that on. And that event was successful because of all the help I had putting that on.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. That seems to be, from my vantage point, one of the hallmarks of this program, the chemistry within the organization and the ability to your point, to work together to make things happen. This is Nighthawk All-Access. We're visiting with Morgan May, Marketing and Events Coordinator here with UNG Athletics. And I know that life goes on outside of your responsibilities. I have it on good authority that we are in the midst of the season that probably draws more of your attention than any other with regard to college athletics, and that would be football. Allegiances to not one, not two, but three different programs, Auburn, Ohio State, Notre Dame. You have to tell me why three and why those three.
Well, I'll tell you that, and you say it draws a lot of my attention. It draws a lot of my attention when I'm not here. So I will say there are Saturdays I give up watching my team because you got to be here. North Georgia first. My allegiance, Ohio State, Auburn, Notre Dame, but North Georgia ahead of all them, I will say. But Ohio State, I'm from Ohio. A lot of family went to Ohio. My sister graduated from Ohio when they won the national championship in 2003. So I grew up a Buckeye fan, always. Auburn, I met my husband at Auburn. I went down with a friend and met him there. So he graduated from Auburn, and he is actually from Ohio as well, and an Ohio State fan. My father-in-law went to Ohio State. Notre Dame, from before I could talk, I was cheering for Notre Dame. My grandfather won 3 national championships for Notre Dame football, playing offense and defense.
How huge is that?
Amazing. I can't even imagine. He was a stud. He never played in a losing football game. He's in Ripley's, believe it or not, from 7th grade through, I think he tied once or twice.
That's incredible.
In his entire career, never played in a losing game. And so Bob Lally, he's an absolute stud.
That is awesome.
So.
That gives us a great insight. Now, to put it in proper perspective, though, like I remember you talking about one given Saturday where I think all 3 programs were playing noon, 3:30, and maybe 7. But not only do you and your better half watch intently all those games, but you dress in the garb of each program.
You've got to dress appropriately. So we have wardrobe changes after the game, absolutely. It happened the Saturday after Thanksgiving this past year. Rivalry day is usually the day when they all play at different times. And we had Ohio State, Michigan at noon. So we were in our Ohio State gear. The Iron Bowl at 3:30. We were in our Auburn gear, and Notre Dame at 7 or 7:30. And had to change.
Now, heaven forbid that 2 of those 3 ever went head to head.
It happened a few years ago.
Okay, how did that work out?
Ohio State, Notre Dame played in the Citrus Bowl, I believe, in 2015. And I was wearing an Ohio State jersey and a Notre Dame hat, and Jared was wearing vice versa. He was wearing an Ohio State jersey, or a hat and a Notre Dame jersey, whatever it was. We mixed and matched that day, and we were going to be happy no matter who won that game.
That's fantastic.
So,
and by the way, congratulations on your recent wedding.
Thank you.
That is fantastic, always exciting. But you talk about the outside interest in being able to follow programs. That's a great part of the back and forth between your teammates here at UNG. I know during the season, as we look at your time here at UNG in your 4th year, what's been the best, most rewarding part of your tenure here in Dahlonega?
The most rewarding would have to be after some of the events that we put on. It's that feeling of, 1, finally relaxing, and 2, some of the events we put on, the Make-A-Wish reveals, the walks, Hall of Fame banquets and inductions, Operation Nighthawks of Honor ceremony, just seeing the joy that brings to a lot of people's faces, and knowing the work that we all put in to make that happen is just so rewarding. And so when the event is over and you decompress a little bit and you start gathering your notes and thinking about it, it's a feeling unlike any other that I didn't really think would have such an effect on me, but it does. And I look forward to the events. I look forward to the end of the event just to have that feeling and knowing that we put on a show for the community.
That is so fantastic. We appreciate what you do for the university, for the department, and we appreciate you being part of the Nighthawks All-Access family now.
Of course, I'm so glad to be here.
All right, good deal. We thank you for joining us. We are going to take a break. When we come back, time for the Nighthawks Spotlight. Kylee Smith, straight ahead.
The UNG Bookstore is the one-stop shop where students can get anything they need for the classroom, and fans can find everything they need to support the Nighthawks, from shirts and jackets to car decals and tailgating chairs. Gear up at the Nighthawks desk with officially licensed UNG merchandise. Be sure to shop in store to find the item of the week. Visit our stores in Dahlonega, Gainesville, Oconee, and Cumming, or check us out online at ungbookstore.com. The UNG Bookstore is a proud sponsor of North Georgia Athletics.
It takes more than intelligence and talent to succeed in life. It takes grit and a commitment to excellence.
It takes the willingness to serve others and a cause greater than yourself.
It requires you to push boundaries
Ask difficult questions.
and understand the world around you
It requires you to know your strengths.
and weaknesses, and have the desire to make yourself better than you were yesterday.
It requires you to be independent, efficient, and tolerant.
Ultimately, it requires you to be a leader. At the University of North Georgia, we develop leaders,
Leaders who serve our country abroad to tackle the challenges of the world.
and leaders who serve at home to improve our way of life.
Leaders who never quit.
Leaders who lead by example and not exception.
Leaders who are tough, but fair.
Leaders who are relentless and passionate.
Leaders who solve problems and don't make excuses.
Leaders who do the right thing, even when no one's looking.
There's nothing average about the University of North Georgia and its Corps of Cadets.
If you've got what it takes, then bring it.
Nighthawk All-Access continues, and it is time for the Nighthawk Spotlight, my favorite segment of our show, and so pleased to be joined by Kylee Smith. And Kylee, welcome.
Thank you.
It is absolutely a pleasure to be able to visit with you and learn a little bit about what goes on, not only in such a phenomenal facility like the Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. I guess let's just start with that. You have the benefit, you and your teammates, of playing in one of the premier venues of its kind in the country. What's that like?
It's pretty surreal. The very first year I got here, it was kind of intimidating. You stepping out onto the field with a stadium like this one, because in high school we didn't have that. We had a very nice field at my high school, but it was nothing compared to this. So one of the first home games, it was a little intimidating, but it's so awesome. It's so nice to have this facility because, I mean, since it's turf, we can get out here, rain, shine, or snow. We've practiced in snow before. But yeah, it's super awesome. It kind of shows you that what you worked for your whole life kind of paid off.
Let's talk about academics, and understand that you've got your major in international studies. Talk about that.
I really enjoy it. When I was growing up, my family always loved traveling. And so I knew from a young age that I wanted to do something that incorporated, I guess, an international aspect. And so when I got here, I declared my major in international affairs. I love it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else I would do, honestly.
Right. When speaking of travel, you had an opportunity to do just that, as well as pursue academics this past summer with study abroad in Paris.
Yes.
How did that happen, and what was it like?
Well, one requirement for my major is study abroad. So I always knew, I've studied French all throughout high school, French throughout college, so France was the country I wanted to go to, and when they offered one in Paris, it was a no-brainer. 65
line items of accolades, an unbelievable number of Peach Buck Conference Pitcher of the Week, I think 14 times since you've been here, representing the Peach Buck Conference as Pitcher of the Week, National Player of the Year, this past season, the NCAA Statistical Champion in Earned Run Average. Congratulations for your unbelievable input to the success of the program. Talk a little bit about, I'm always curious about, with athletes that have such an unbelievable ability on the mound, how do you approach, from a mental standpoint, each and every game, knowing that you are one of the best when it comes to pitching in college?
Well, I think when it comes to each game, you can't think like, well, I had this many strikeouts last game, or I did this last game. You just kind of got to go out there and you know what you can do. You got to do your best and do it for your team because they're doing it for you too. But you also have to know, like, hey, I did this last year. Like, let's do a little bit better this year. So it kind of lights the fire into you to try and do better. But I think mainly I see all the effort that my teammates put in behind me and at the plate, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing my part if I didn't give it everything I had, plus more in the mound. So
it is interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the trademarks of Coach Davenport teams is the unbelievable chemistry that is exhibited by the team. And you talk about the teammates and their efforts. What's it been like to be a part of such an unbelievable program like is here at North Georgia softball?
It's definitely one of the best athletic experiences I've had. Coach does such an amazing job coaching us. The amount of knowledge he has of the game is kind of baffles me sometimes, but to learn the game from him after years and years of, lessons and travel ball and high school ball is really amazing, and it really just kind of makes you appreciate the sport a little more.
Now, one of the things that's always a challenge, I think, for student athletes, and one that not only we talked about your prowess and recognition on the field, many of these 65 line items in your bio are academic honors as well. So congratulations
Thank you.
for that. What is the biggest challenge with regard to time management when it comes to being a collegiate student athlete?
I think you learn that your freshman year. You kind of just have to go through it and figure out when you can study, when you need to space things out between weights, practice, individuals, and like visiting professors' office hours. You really just need to know what type of student you are in order to how you can get things done and plan it out, and know if you can procrastinate or not. But so I think you really learn a lot about yourself your freshman year, and from then on you can build up to be like, okay, I can give myself this much time between here, or I have this much time, I only need a little bit, I can relax, you know. So you just kind of learn as you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's great. Unbelievable numbers that you put up with strikeouts, earned run average. I guess one of the questions that people would ask, does it ever get old striking people out? Probably not.
No. Yes and no.
Right.
I mean, my favorite strikeouts are if you need like a very intense moment, if you need a strikeout right then and there and you get it, it's really like, and your team is behind you, that feels really good. But my favorite ones are just kind of like the ugly strikeouts,
right.
If you don't see a pitch coming and you're just kind of like, woo, those are fun, But it's just something different,
Exactly. And with each competition, with pitcher and batter, that's the case. As we wind up our conversation, and again, we're visiting with Kylee Smith, our Nighthawks Spotlight athlete for this edition of Nighthawks All-Access. I want to look back at your time here at Dahlonega, and I know so many highlights in the time that you've been here. Is there one that stands out as far as a favorite moment of your time here in North Georgia?
Athletically or overall?
Across the board.
Okay. Well, I'll give you two. Athletically, it was so awesome to go my sophomore year when we went to Salem, Virginia for the World Series. That was such an experience, and that was a great group of girls. I love them. Still talk to them. Some of them are still on the team, so that was cool. Overall, I just love like our little get-togethers as a team. Like we do a Friendsgiving every year. That's fun. Just hanging out with the girls, being, not maybe taking softball out of it, because sometimes that can just be a lot at times. So just hanging out with everybody, Christmas parties with Coach. I think just hanging out with everybody, becoming a family on and off the field.
That is great. Kylee, we can't thank you enough for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and congratulations on all that you've accomplished to this point. Greatly look forward to the coming season and following the team as they compete for yet another championship.
Yeah.
All right, Kylee
Thank
Smith, you bet. Kylee Smith, our Nighthawk Spotlight. Stay with us. Back in just a moment.
I'm Sonia McClain with Red Rooster Realty. Fall is right around the corner, and it doesn't get any prettier than this. Have you been thinking about buying in Georgia's Lake and Mountain Paradise? Give me a call at 770-480-4777.
Coming up on the Nighthawk Sports Network, Peach Belt Conference basketball in full swing as the women host Georgia College Saturday at 1:30, followed by the men's game against the Bobcats to tip off at 3:30. And on Monday at 3:30 p.m., Hawk Talk airs on Glory 97.9 and AM 1330. That's all coming up on the Nighthawks Sports Network.
A big thanks to our guests this edition of Nighthawk All-Access, Jordan Tetley, Morgan May, and our Nighthawk Spotlight, Kylee Smith. On behalf of everyone here, I'm Craig Corbin. We'll see you next time on Nighthawk All-Access.